Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Movie Battleground. We are here in the Snowdown tournament, or the Showdown tournament. I get the pronunciation, I get the words mixed up when I don't got my glasses on. But right now, we are here for what is going to be an epic debate match between our two contestants. We got Ryan O'Regan versus Chance Ellison. Now, if many of you at home are following, this is for them to move up in the tournament to challenge or to become the movie battleground champion. Now, before I introduce our opponents, let's move to our two judges who will be deciding the fate of our competitors. To my right, we have Vince. How you doing, James?
I'm doing good, Mr. Wall. I'm glad you are here to lead the match because I've never done it and I'm very bad at stuff.
Trust me, we're all bad at something. It just takes practice to get better. It's like the Nirvana line said, I'm worse at what I do best, and it's for this gift I'm blessed. So let's move to my judge on the left, and it is Troy. Troy, how are you doing tonight, and are you excited?
I am really excited. I'm looking forward to a good battle tonight, and to be honest, I'm most excited about telling Emma Fife. I don't know if she'll believe me, but I'm going to tell her Chance actually does have eyeballs. I can see them from here. I don't know if she's going to believe me, but I'm going to tell her I saw him. I saw him with my own eyes through the internet. But
no, that is a good point. We should definitely let Emma know that it's not an urban legend. It's not a myth. Chance does have two eyes.
I do have eyes.
Yes. I would like to say they're nice baby blues, but it's
they are not.
Color. They're not blue. Okay, that's why I don't got my glasses on. I can barely see crap here. So let's say hello to our contestant, Chance Ellison. Chance, I think it's been a while since we've seen you here on Battleground. What are you hoping for everyone to expect from you?
Yeah, it's been a little bit. My last fight was against James Spence. Didn't go super well in my favor, although I did get Hooker Race, which I will always wear as a red badge of honor. But yeah, I mean, it's tournament time. So, I mean, the fighting cap is on. I am ready to go. Never fought this guy before, but I'm ready to see what he's got.
All right. Strong words. He's definitely ready to go. And to his opponent, the real ordeal. Should I be calling you that from now on, Ryan? Or do you just want me to call you by my name just to be formal?
Oh, no. Let's be familiar. You can call me Ryan. You can call me O'Regan. And, whatever's comfortable for you.
Okay.
I have no preference.
Yeah, I personally have no preference too, but I think for the people that don't, I think it's one of the reasons why I didn't put my name down on here because I'm also a Ryan. So to avoid confusion, I just put myself with this nice little acronym. People can figure out what the hell it means. If you just want to know right now, I can easily spoil it to you before the end of the match.
Spoiler for that. It's nothing racist, folks. All right, so don't be too worried or anything.
Well, no, it's hydrogen, iodine, jamesium, and carbon. The four greatest elements combined.
Yes, I'm gonna leave it open-ended here for everybody. So you can post down your comments what the hell it means. So before we get started into our match, I just want to remind everybody that and our opponents that you guys have a 90-second opener. You have 5 minutes for your debate, and you have 60 seconds for your closing. And both opponents do have a 1-minute extension they can use for either their opening or their closing throughout the match. I'd say use it wisely because who knows? We could go to speed round, or this could be a knockout, or we can have pretty much landslide victories. It's unknown here, but we're going to keep everything fair and straight to the point. And with that being said, off with the first round and the first question. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with the question for round one. And this falls into the realm of animated. Okay. So here is the question. What is the best ensemble voice cast in any animated film? I'll repeat that for everybody. What is the best ensemble voice cast in any animated film? It is just a silver side.
What? I got an actual coin here, Ryan.
No, I am not doing Team Guy, okay?
So maybe it'll land on Team Bateman or Team Trader, whatever. Are we doing the
coin flip? That made? Yeah, sure, why not? I'll take Bateman.
Action industry people got this. So, Chance,
I'll
are you?
say Bateman.
I'll go Guy.
Okay. You son of a bitch. So it's Team Bateman.
Good choice,
Chance,
okay.
Chance. You will
First or
start
second?
first.
Okay.
All right, now, whenever you are ready, Chance, time will begin once you start talking.
So yeah, this was a really interesting question to look at because you have to look at like an entire cast of a whole animated film. There's a lot of options could have gone with, but ultimately I went with Inside Out. The Inside Out it really hinges on that ensemble, really hinges on every act in that movie giving as excellent a performance as they can give from various levels of importance, from like the top where you got joy and sadness, or even like the ones that seem pretty inconsequential, like Riley and her family. Like every performance in that movie really, really matters. And I'll get into why I think this is the best ensemble more when we get to the argument section. But for right now, yeah, Inside Out is my pick.
All right, awesome. Inside Out, that is a great choice there. Now we're going to move to The Real Ordeal. Whenever you are ready, time will start when as soon as you start talking.
So when the question was posed to us, and I believe it was more Pixar than rather just animated, it became a little difficult because really Pixar has had so many great films and has had so many great talents behind many of its characters. But when I think about ensemble, when I think about all the actors as a whole working in, some sort of congruency, something that's binding them all together, there's one franchise that stands out, and there's one movie in that franchise in which everybody gets a nice little piece, everybody shows what they're capable of, and you get to feel for all of it. And that's got to be Toy Story 3. What could have and should have been the ending of the Toy Story franchise, nothing against 4, but certainly to me it's the pinnacle of all those movies, and it's the best overall ensemble I could possibly think of. And we'll get into that later.
Awesome.
Under a minute for both of y'all. Okay.
Yeah, this feels like it feels like there's no good choices here because we got Inside Out and Toy Story 3. Both movies, in my opinion, that has great cast, but this is not about me. We are talking about our two opponents. So, guys, let's get started. Whenever you start talking, we're going to start this debate.
So I will say, I think when looking at this question, I think there's a very big difference between having the biggest cast and having the best cast. Because if the question is biggest cast of an animated film, then Ryan wins. It's no contest. But if you look at this is really a question of like quality over quantity, because you look at everyone in my movie: Amy Poehler, Phil Smith, Mindy Kaling, Bill Hader, Lewis Black. Those core 5 emotions managed to overcome what should be like really one-dimensional type characters and give 3-dimensional performances. Like each of them are just fantastic. And even you look at the parents, played by Kyle MacLachlan and Diane Lane, they're fantastic. And I can't think of the name of the girl who plays Riley, but she's fantastic. She's really kind of the anchor of this whole
Diaz.
thing. Thank you, Caitlin Diaz. But I think what separates these two movies is that we're like, I think with Toy Story 3, a lot of those actors are kind of just there so they can say that they were in a Toy Story movie. Whereas
that's where I gotta stop you a little bit. I have to stop you a little bit. First of all, in regards to Inside Out, yes, they have great actors playing those emotions, mostly because the actors themselves were, as far as I can tell, a typecast of whatever those emotions were. Bill Hader making funny noises and freaking out. Yeah, typecast. Amy Poehler, that was basically just a rendition of her Parks and Recreation character. Phyllis Smith and Mindy Kaling, versions of their Office characters. I'm surprised the movie itself wasn't made by the guys who made The Office and Parks and Rec. And as far as an ensemble is concerned, they pretty much just were their emotions intrinsically. There's only 2 of them probably have any growth. Anger, fear, and disgust certainly don't have any growth. They're like, oh yeah, let's be funny and jokey. It does nothing, especially when you separate the 2. You have joy and sadness doing their own thing. You got the other 3 messing everything up. There's no unity. At least with Toy Story 3,
you really want to tell me about the arcs of Buttercup or Dolly or Stretch or all these like ancillary characters.
I'm not even saying that every single character really big has to have
just so they can
super
big
poignant emotional turn, but certainly a lot more of the cast in Toy Story 3 come together and show a lot more pathos, emotion, and unity, as well as just bringing the whole thing together rather than everything being segmented and being about Woody all again. You know,
except they don't. You get pathos from Woody, Buzz, and Lotso. The rest are kind of just there to deliver jokes. Like
no. You certainly get enough emotion from Jessie because she gets her PTSD from being abandoned again. You certainly get enough from Ken.
Not really. It's just like one line in the opening
to talk to that you get when finally Ken and Barbie can meshing together. Yes, Lotso is a tragic villain, but he's still a more poignant villain than anything that's going on with joy and sadness. The only thing about Inside Out that actually shows a good ensemble is when you had Richard Kind in there. He was the only character in the whole damn movie I even cared about, and that's from one scene. All right, even the guy that plays Andy in Toy Story 3, John Morris, the same guy who's been playing Andy ever since the beginning. He gives one of the most heart-wrenching little speeches and monologues at the end of that movie, and the only reason his speech even cares that much to him is because we all care about the toys that he is giving away. We don't get that if the characters are given some sort of personality, some sort of depth to them, and that only happens because every single actor behind those characters has done that to the best of their ability in this one movie where everyone gets to shine for at least a little bit.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. Like everyone gets like a good moment or a good like joke or something, but not a lot of them get like a really like deep moment. The deepest moments, I mean, they're there.
You're telling me the trash yard scene where everyone's holding hands and everything, even though it's a silent moment, but it's only good because it's silent because of everything that's led up to it.
But that has nothing to do with the actors. That has nothing to do with the cast. It has to do with the animators and the staging and the direction of that moment. The cast is completely like superfluous to that whole trash scene. Whereas you look at my movie where they're all coming together, like you want to talk about real cohesion, talk about like all of my cast working together for one common goal. And the fact that like with anime movies, they're all often recorded.
They're not necessarily working for a common goal. They're all pretty much just fighting for their own thing in that. It's not until the very end where you see like the things merging together. Until then, everyone has their own ulterior motives.
And you kind of miss the point. They're all trying to fight for Riley's well-being, no matter what emotion they represent.
And the toys and Toy Story are all fighting to stay together, to stay a family. So to say that they're not all working for one thing is ridiculous.
I didn't say that. You're projecting going to me that I'm not just untrue. But I will say that time is running out in 3, 2, 1.
All right, guys, that is time. Time here. Okay, clearly both of our players are passionate about their choices, and that is awesome. That's what we're looking for here. And now we are moving to our closing. Now, let's see. Since Chance had started us off, Ryan, you will start off in the closing. Whenever you are ready, whenever you have time to recollect your thoughts, time will begin as soon as you start.
Toy Story 3 wouldn't be as good of a movie as it was unless the voice cast actually went ahead and put their heart and souls into the characters they were portraying. And I'm not just talking about Woody and Buzz and Lotso, which are like the three mainstays that everyone wants to talk about because that's like your two protagonists and your one villain. But Joan Cusack as Jessie certainly goes ahead and brings in a lot of tension. Michael Keaton, like I said, and Jodie Benson working together as Ken and Barbie. John Morris, like I said, Laurie Metcalf, even after having her Oscar nod for as my mom. You've got so many people here that all give something to it. Even the new people, Jeff Garlin, Kristen Schaal, Timothy fucking Dalton as Mr. Pricklepants. All right, there's a reason that this movie has had some growth to even warrant another movie. Well, we may not, if we ever get to see Inside Out 2, but certainly Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4, it all bleeds together. And that's because Toy Story 3 has such a nice rounded cast regardless of who is in the main picture. And I'm done.
Okay. All right, cool. Right before your 30 seconds, so that's good. All right, Chance, we are moving to you. James can't hold his excitement, but Chance, we are moving to you. Whenever you are ready, time will start.
Like I said at the opening, there's a very big difference between having the biggest cast and having the best cast. Because like I said, biggest cast, you win. But like you look at a lot of these actors they have, like a lot of these actors, either you or I could voice, and it would make no difference. I mean, like Whoopi Goldberg, Kirsten Shaw, Jeff Garland, Bonnie Hunt, like they're all pretty ancillary to the point where you could really get anybody, but they got big actors just so they can say that, hey, we got these big actors, or so they can tell their kids, like, hey, I'm mommy or daddy's in this Toy Story movie. You should check it out. Whereas with Inside Out, every actor, every character, every performance matters. Every vocal rendition, every inflection, every line makes a difference. And you need every actor. It's like an engine. You need all cylinders to click if you want to go anywhere. Everyone is important. You need everyone in that movie to make a difference. Whereas Toy Story, much like with all those movies, it's like a central core of like 5 to 7 people, and the rest is just superfluous. Doesn't matter. Whereas Inside Out, that's the true definition of an ensemble piece. That's the true definition of everything coming together to make one great emotional package. And you say that like these characters have much more dimension than they really have any right to have in effect representing emotions. And everyone gets their shine, everyone gets their due, everyone has to be clicking at top speed to make this movie work just as a whole.
All right. I believe Chance is done. Oh, man, you guys gave us a lot to think of. Okay, you know what? I'll just break the ice on this one, and I will go first. Okay. Looking through, Ryan, Chance did put you on a bit of a hill to climb when he said this difference between both your casts were biggest versus best, and definitely in the close, both you guys did talk about the actors in your closing that was involved in this. Now, you did fight back against Chance when you provided more moments to show how some of the cast was able to provide. I mean, you did talk about Andy's goodbye speech, and it's great. Chance did. God, I saw some good. You did talk about how the cast, how you feel their performances going through, how this is how they're being employed. But Ryan did hit you back on how they felt a bit typecast, and you didn't rebut back against that enough. But ultimately, Ryan did provide more examples to how his cast was utilized, and I was hoping you would provide more as well. So with that, I will give Ryan my point. Who has your point?
Sorry, Troy. My point is going to Chance. I think you made a great point in that many of Toy Story 3's best moments are the quiet ones, where the cast doesn't really have anything to do. And on top of that, I don't think saying the film being typecast is necessarily a bad thing for either the actors or the films. It just showed how great the performances were, that you could see the essence of who they were in it. So yeah, point to Chance.
I get why he said apologies, because you're the tiebreaker, Troy, in this one.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I thought he confused me with you, man, but I just didn't have the forethought to realize, oh, you're breaking the tie. But Troy, it is to you, and so who wins this round in your opinion?
Well, let's not just get there. Oh, let me build a little here. First off, I think this was actually one of the best argued matches I've judged, or best argued rounds I've judged. It was a great back and forth. Thank you both for actually naming the cast members, and both Chance and Ryan did a great job of giving details about the cast members, why they were important, certain scenes and important parts. I think they were pretty equal there. Had a good back and forth. They were both pretty equal throughout, but I think one player really, I had a better sense of an argument, and that was Chance. I got a better sense of an argument that Inside Out is really more based on the story. The story, the whole movie is good because of the performances. The performances are really what's important, and they do a good job of conveying that, versus Toy Story is more just, there's more side characters, more big people in smaller roles. So that was the real argument for me that sounded like best on voice cast. So my points to Chance.
Okay. And with that being said, Chance wins round 1. And so we're going to move on to round 2 in this category of comedy movies. Now, the question for
this is the last question,
allegedly comedy movies.
I was hoping to not have that happen, but jeez. Okay.
Such loose terminology.
Alleged.
All right. All right, but let's move to
comedy.
Yes. What is the deal with this comedy? All right. Now that everything's dead in the water, the question: what is the worst Kevin James performance?
Trick question. They're all bad.
Hey,
I
am not gonna have you disrespecting Hitch like that. No, not in my house. Not in my house.
I'm just kidding. I love Here Comes the Boom.
Hey.
Well, I mean that's a good way to say my pick is Here Comes the Boom. No.
All right. Since out of the plethora of choices we have here, we're gonna go to Ryan. You will start this round off. Whenever you are ready, time starts as soon as you begin talking.
Well, while the last round was a little more serious, allow me to go ahead and alleviate some of the normal tension here. Now, I am a proud New Jersey resident. I know it's a funny thing to say, but for our representation here in this state, the birthplace of cinema, I do hate the idea that the most common character we hear about nowadays isn't Sopranos, isn't even Jersey Shore. It's motherfucking Paul Blart.
Is it really?
And I can understand that, memes have helped his popularity. And yes, the idea of a mall security guard going ahead and stepping up to, the stakes of whatever's going on around him. Yeah, okay, kind of funny in the first movie. But the second movie, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, so unfunny, so unnecessary, so demeaning to anything that the first movie would have built up about the character, and it doesn't even take place in Jersey or a mall. What is the purpose of the character at this point? I almost never want to have a mustache in my life, so that's why I never get mistaken for this badass character in this batter-ass movie. That's my time.
Okay, I just want to finish this off. Never want to grow a mustache in your life. No, but seriously.
Strong words.
I think it's the first time we can say the word batter ass has been used in here. And I sincerely hope you don't batter your ass. That does not deep fry well.
Oh, come on, man.
Just had to reach for that.
Come on.
I would have preferred a sports joke.
Like Paul Blart reaching for a donut. That was way too far for something not worth it.
Hey, look, I'm as someone who's completely unaware of Paul Bart's popularity in New Jersey, I'm surprised that you didn't throw in the Jersey Shore for this. But you know what? That being said,
I did mention Jersey Shore. No one was being talked about that or Sopranos.
Sorry, you threw me off. I was so confused with Paul Bart's popularity, it just slipped my mind. But that's not going to count in. But let's go to Chance.
Got myself a Segway.
Yeah, let's segue on to Chance for his answer. All right.
Boo. Boo.
Wow.
Mute yourself, James. All right. Everyone, let's mute, and Chance, whenever you're ready, the time will start.
So this is a very difficult question because, like someone, like Troy said, you can look at any Kevin James performance, make a case for why that is the worst Kevin James performance. But for me, I decided to look at, what was he supposed to be doing in this movie, which is why I ultimately landed on Pixels. Pixel was a movie that I was surprised looking forward to, and just like, come on, fighting old school arcade games. How can you fuck this up? Who's doing this? Adam Sandler? Oh, okay, that's how. But yeah, in this movie, Kevin James plays the president of the United States. I'm not making that up. That's the actual plotline. Kevin James somehow became the president. I'm not sure it's supposed to be like, I'm not sure if that's supposed to be foresight or predicting the future or like a warning, but regardless, there we are. But the thing that I will say about Kevin James in this movie is he, much like other movies where he has like something like the Mall Cop films or Zookeeper or Here Comes the Boom, where he has something he's supposed to be doing and he does it. This one, he has something he's supposed to be playing, but he doesn't even try to do that at all. He plays like all the other films, and I'll get more into that when we go into our main argument.
Okay, so we have a president versus a mall cop. Clearly, both positions we never want to see Kevin James in. Maybe more likely as janitor, but he might screw that up too. So you're ready, take a breath. Don't put peanut butter over your donuts, and so let's get going.
Now I will take you to task a little bit, Ryan, because I question if whether or not you paid attention to Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, because if you did, you would know that he was in Vegas for a security convention, so he is not out of place being not in a mall or not in Jersey.
People from robbing paintings when he's just a mall cop, that is completely out of place. All right, if you're going to do a sequel
more
to
so
Mall
than trying
Cop,
to stop robbers,
if you're going to do a sequel to a Mall Cop, go to Mall of America. Go to the American Dream one that we just opened up. Go and upscale where the character goes to, rather than just making an advertisement for the Wynn Hotel of Las Vegas. This is essentially him doing an Adam Sandler lateral where he wants to go on vacation someplace, and it's like, oh well, let's do a movie there. There's enough tax write-off. Let's go ahead and do that. It was a pointless sequel.
I will say that movie calls for, much like the first one, it calls for him to be a bumbling mall cop, and that's basically what you get. I don't know why that's so upsetting.
And just like that, you also get a bumbling president in what you get in Pixels.
That's the thing. Why this is so bad is because he practically plays it like Paul Blart. He doesn't act like a president at all.
Which is funny because both these movies came out in the same year, 2015.
They did.
That was a bad year.
And the performers, you can switch to either of these performances, and it wouldn't make a difference. He doesn't even try to play a president.
But here's the problem:
and I think that's why this is the worst performance.
But here's the thing: Kevin James playing the president in an Adam Sandler movie, the way he plays that president fits for an Adam Sandler movie. All right, he's basically one of the shinier turds in the whole big bowl that he crapped in. Whereas this was his starring vehicle. This was like one of the few movies that he's actually starred in. You're taking a little snippet, maybe 20 minutes worth of showtime that he has on that one Adam Sandler movie, and you're giving it 3 times as much showtime in this stupid sequel. All right? They may be similar in character, but I'd rather take the one that has less time of him and not the one that has more time of him.
But that movie calls for him to be a bumbling cop. This one calls for him to have some authority to.
It calls for him to be a bumbling president. That's why you need video games to save the planet. Otherwise, he would have been nuking everybody if he had the finger on the button.
If you think of what the movie's supposed to be, like, he actually has the opportunity to be the straight man and command some authority, like be the person who's actually going through all this, and he never once does this at all. Like, if you imagine replacing Kevin James with Obama. How ridiculous would that be?
First of all, that's nostalgia critic stuff, all right? I've already seen that episode. Second, I already can tell that if you're going to be in an Adam Sandler movie and if you're the fat guy, you're going to be funny to some degree in Adam Sandler's eyes. You're not going to be serious
but he's not even funny. But he's not even funny in this one.
Whether it be Hotel Transylvania, whether it be Grown Ups, all right? I'm surprised they didn't make a black president by simply painting Rob Schneider. That's how bad Pixels a movie is.
I'm pretty sure that's the idea. But
if I'm going to have Kevin James play the same character, I want less time and not more time. I don't need him trying to be an uncharismatic protagonist, trying to get laid, trying to do all he can to look important in front of a bunch of people that he doesn't even care about, and try to do the exact same plot from the first movie, just on a more ridiculous scale.
You want less time with a character. We're in a film where he's the main character. That doesn't make any sense. Like I'm saying, like his performance in the first one is the same thing. So I don't know why his performance is so much worse.
I mean, it's first off, the movie starts off by killing off the girl that he marries and killing off his mother. It starts on a very dark and dreary note, and then it's still just really, oh well, we're going to Vegas. Oh, okay. Now, there's no reason I should even care about Paul Blart in the sequel. I cared about him in the first one. I cared that, he was a guy trying. Here, he's just fumbling through. And at least in Pixels, you don't have to worry about him fumbling through for too long. He comes out in the end. He helps take care of Donkey Kong. He's actually participating and being helpful. And that's all he should be as a drunken frat boy president. I would take a drunken frat boy president who's at least, maybe George W.-ish and kind of funny compared to what we have as a president now, to this goddamn embarrassment of law enforcement.
Embarrassment. Oh, boy. Okay, but here's the thing. Why is the performance in Paul Blart 2 worse than Paul Blart 1? Because it's basically the same thing. He goes, he rides a Segway, he falls, he eats sugar. There's no difference. There's really no difference. Only difference is the second one is in Vegas
And the difference is he cares less about his daughter. He has less to live for, and yet he's still just emotionally still doing the same things. But he should be better. He should be a little bit more dour. And instead, there's an emergency.
You want more dramatic level from Paul Blart.
You know, let me see some character growth. Let me see some depth. Let me see something, rather than him just being a comedic act when he's supposed to be the straight man and the lead of the movie.
I think if you're coming for depth, you come to the wrong franchise.
Okay, guys, time here. Okay, the first one that passed, and this one we pretty much just do a nuke on this one. So, with that, guys, please take a moment, catch your breath. Ryan, since you started off the opening, Chance, you will start the closing. Whenever you are ready, time will start.
Like I said, Kevin James basically giving the same performance he did in the first one, which, if you're going to Paul Blart 2, I don't know why you would want anything deeper. I don't know why you want anything different. If you like the first one, it's pretty much just more of the same. I don't know why it offends you so badly. Is it because it's not in Jersey? It's because it's not in Jersey, right? But when you look at Pixels, this is the only movie of Kevin James where he has to be more than Kevin James. He has to be commander in chief. He has some kind of commanding presence. This is a role that probably should have gone to like a more serious actor. In fact, if you put a more serious actor into this role, a lot of the jokes that they're throwing at him would actually be funnier, because it would be something different from what we've seen that serious actor do before. Whereas opposed to Kevin James as Paul Blart as president. Like, it fails on so many levels, and that's why I think this is his worst performance.
All right. Okay. All right, Chance. Got everything off now. Ryan, please take some time before I want to prepare myself for your closing because of how fast and furious you came in the debate. So whenever you're ready, time will start as soon as you start talking.
To compare a supporting character role in an Adam Sandler movie to a starring role of a sequel of a character that you have embodied is like comparing apples and oranges. The fact is, being the president in Pixels, in that universe where everything is going on as it is, to put any sensible actor, it would still be the same kind of character. So at least if it's Kevin James, it kind of makes more sense for it to be that stupid. All right, if you want serious, go ahead and switch him with Peter Dinklage, but you didn't. No, instead, you have a big old bumbling president, which we are now seeing as a kind of reality, and you have him for a moniker of time as opposed to an entire freaking film where he is the lead and I am supposed to follow him around on this misadventure which he does not deserve to be on. It is a sequel that should not have been made. But just as Pixels could be argued that that's the movie that relegated Sandler to Netflix, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 is the movie that relegated Kevin James to Netflix. And so far, he hasn't even shown anything that's worthy of even being on the platform. If I'm going to have to deal with that kind of subpar comedic acting where we're making fun of fat people and, overinflated senses of ego, I'm going to take the lesser amount of time to deal with it rather than the more amount of time to deal with it. It's a drag to actually watch that sequel and compare it to something that, while Paul Blart Mall Cop wasn't the best, it was certainly much more substantial than whatever this sequel tried to be.
And right on time. Okay. Jeez. Part of me feels like this shouldn't be a hard choice, but man, I guess when it comes to the worst performances, it's never that easy. So, Troy, actually, we all had choices here, but Troy, I'm going to start off with you in this round.
I'm ready. No, I got it. I actually, this was a little easier than I thought it was going to be. Starting off, I thought both competitors were a little anemic. They both had basic opening statements, and then the argument started and started getting a little heavier. The argument round was definitely the best round here. I think Chance started off really strong, but then put Ryan on his heels. But then Ryan scored like 3 touchdowns on defense for me. I think he really turned it around in the argument round, pointing out that, yeah, it's understandable he's President Paul Blart because he is just a side character in Adam Sandler movie versus Paul Blart 2 being actually supposed to be in a leading role, just really ruining his career. versus being a president. Versus, I like the argument that he needs to play video games versus getting the nukes. He's just supposed to be the funny fat guy versus Paul Blart 2, where he should have had a leading role. So I think Ryan really turned it around and ran away with it for me at the end. Ryan's got my point on this one.
Okay. Troy's giving his point to Ryan. I will go next. Well, my thoughts are similar when it comes to the opening. It was pretty much a little meager at first because when you guys were giving your openings, it was good, but the debates, while I heard a lot of passion from Ryan why Kevin James as the lead of a Paul Blart 2 movie was important, how you did mention when it came to performance, he is the dumb guy. There's a lot of fat jokes here, but with Chance though, when it came to Pixels, yes, he got knocked because it was a supporting role, but the fact it was the role of the president and how he mentions that the role was asking more of Kevin James to do. And yes, Ryan did reply back that he's given a role in an Adam Sandler movie, but at the same time, it is the role of the president, and for the role for him to be someone of authority given to someone who's supposed to, with more authority compared to a security guard, you should at least expect more of the performance. And as Chance mentioned, he's just playing the same character from Paul Blart 2. And also, it is the same performance in Paul Blart 2 that he's given from Paul Blart 1. But ultimately, though, it's just more of performance aspects, what's demanded of him, that I felt more from Chance. So Chance is getting my point. If he failed the first time, if it wasn't that convincing that first time for Paul Blart 1, well, you're going to expect more in Paul Blart 2. Apologize for last time, so it's now on to you.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad at all. Deal with it.
How do I feel bad? I just I genuinely don't know.
Oh wow.
I think you guys have a very. I don't think the arguments are that similar, but I think that in the way they stack up against each other, they're neck and neck. When it comes down to it, I think I have to lean towards. I think I lean towards Chance again, because I think Ryan had a lot of personal sentiment to the argument. Again, I'm being a New Jersey native and saying he was misplaced in the sequel, which I don't think weighs into the arguments, as well as bumbling president. We've got a few of them now. Who we got now, who we got as vice president currently, and also you made the George W. comparison. I think that's not super out of reach, and it's basically the same performance, so you're really just, it's basically who pulled the longer straw, and I think Chance, you narrowly escaped with that.
Okay, Chance get this point. He's up by 2. This next question, it's do or die for Ryan, and this is a question I'm personally excited for in comic book movies. Now, this one, I'd say is probably, despite whatever answers you guys can provide, it's still going to be an important question, hopefully in the future. So here is the question, ladies and gentlemen, and the question for comic book movies is, what is the best R-rated comic book film to date? Now, Chance, you will be starting this off.
Yes.
Whenever you are ready, time will begin.
Joker. No, I'm kidding. Like that. No, my real answer, this is the tough one, because there are actually some really quality R-rated comic films out there. But my vote is going to go to Robert Rodriguez's Sin City. This was an adaptation of a Frank Miller comic, which, true story, Robert Rodriguez actually left the DGA in order to have Frank Miller come in as an assistant director. A second director, because he couldn't make it while he was under DGA rules, because he knew that his voice was that important to this film. And yeah, this was a case in point for why Frank Miller comics would make really, really cool movies until it didn't, although not Spirit doesn't count. But yeah, it's stylized. It's stylized. The violence is great. The use of color is awesome. All performances from a great ensemble. There is so much about Sin City that works and works fantastically that I will. I'd go into more, but I want to save some points for my arguments for the argument run. So, Ryan, go ahead.
All right.
You have 1 minute and 30 seconds, you two.
I know.
Use the
I
time.
have this right here waiting.
I don't want to.
Nope.
I don't want to burn. I
James.
don't want to burn all my stuff.
Show all their cards here. I mean, it's bad poker playing if you just show your entire hand before it gets
Fuck you,
poker
Ryan.
playing.
I play Canasta. Own up to it.
I hope they leave that in. Fuck you, Ryan. I play Canasta.
Okay. All right. I'm just going to let that slide. And we're going to go to the real ordeal. Whenever you are ready, time will begin as soon as you start talking.
So you could say that right now we're pretty much in a golden age of R-rated comic book films. You've got Joker, you've got Deadpool, you've got, other side ones like, like Sin City. Well, even though it was back in 2007, 2008, way back when, 10 years ago almost. But 2006. But it was fine. It's fine. But if I have to think about a best R-rated comic book movie, something that's the pinnacle of what any R-rated comic book movie should be striving for, I have to say Logan. All right, there's so much to it, and it doesn't go ahead and abuse the R rating like some other films might, and it doesn't go ahead and lean too heavily on what you can do in R without just propagating a proper story either. The story and the acting and everything culminating into this film makes it a wonder, and is now, as far as I'm concerned, the high point that any movie in that little subgenre should be reaching for. Now's my time.
All right.
So, quick fact check. Sin City came out in 2005, and Logan is not the movie Wonder, starring Jacob Tremblay. So 2 facts already wrong from you, Ryan.
Oh, it's not. Oh, really? It's not.
Yeah, you had to do the Wonder thing.
I watched
really?
the wrong film. Prep for this.
Oh
Whoops.
All right, we have 2 great choices here. Ryan has given us Logan. Chance brings Sin City. All right, guys, whenever you are ready, time will start. And I want to say, let's just get started here.
I do find it funny how you say the movie doesn't abuse the R rating when Logan's first line is literally "fuck me" or something like that. He
said it in other X-Men movies. I mean, it doesn't really play off that heavily.
But that is the one. Like every other word out of his mouth is an F-bomb. What I will say about Logan is I remember loving that movie the first time I saw it. But not gonna lie, the more I revisit it, the more I kind of realized maybe I give it a little too much credit, especially when it goes like the third act. First of all, it falls in the same trap as every other X-Men movie, where none of them have a good third act. It's literally just a bunch of CGI crap that a lot of it you just don't care about, and also just looks really boring. Second of all,
you're talking about CGI crap when practically the entirety of Sin City is all green screen. All right, that movie is practically nothing but CG.
At least Sin City. At least special effects in Sin City are stylized. Like they exaggerate the environment.
They're stylized. That's the only thing that's really keeping that thing in like any comic book thing, because they didn't make a comic book movie. They made a motion comic. That thing is almost frame for frame the exact same thing as the comic book itself. You didn't need Frank Miller even there, unless he was going ahead and poking and prodding people, being like, no, stick to the book, stick to the book. All right? It may be a faithful adaptation, but the gratuity and the over-violence, the hyper-violence, and the nudity and the sex, I mean, it's gratuitous to the point where it's comical. That's Frank Miller. It's silly.
That's Frank Miller. That's why you go and watch something or read something done by Frank Miller.
The Dark Knight Returns is also Frank Miller, but I mean, I think that's going to be a little bit more subdued and plot-driven.
Really like violent, really bloody, and like really just hyper-stylized. I think that's why. Not to mention, this movie looks super impressive for the budget it had. The budget for this movie is actually like astonishingly low for as good as it looks. Not to mention,
because everyone was on set. You didn't have to travel with anything. But the budget aside, if you're going to do everything green screen and then you're just going to stick with the monochrome coloring. No, here's the thing. As far as Logan is concerned, all right, you're taking a comic book franchise and you're giving it the perfect ending with this movie. All right? No. Forget Dark Phoenix. Forget all the other X-Men stuff that would have been contained in the ending. This should have been the ending to the X-Men franchise in itself. All right, it gives a stellar performance from Hugh Jackman, and it gives a great performance from Daphne Keane coming up. Overall, if you even took the X-Men stuff out, it's a great movie. It's practically Unforgiven, but set in the X-Men universe.
And that's the problem.
It is Oscar caliber. All right,
movie
you're going to tell me that something like Sin City, with all of its dourness and dryness, and half the people that die in that movie, you already know they're going to die when they start talking and narrating over themselves because they're that moody, that depressed, that boring.
And you didn't know Logan was going to die. Hugh Jackman's last Wolverine movie.
And you could have easily made Sin City a PG-13 movie. It doesn't need to be R. No. You could have put that on the editing floor. You could with all. How many of the deaths are like silhouetted? How many of the deaths are pretty much just white blood or yellow blood? All right, it's not realistic to that degree. It's
not realistic from the guy arguing for a movie with flaws.
It abuses the R privilege.
Look,
I'll give you a moment.
I think arguing realism is ridiculous because you're arguing with a guy who can pop claws out of his knuckles. And next second, you brought Unforgiven. That's my biggest problem with Logan, well, among other things. My biggest problem with Logan is the fact that it borrows from so many other movies. I watched Logan, I'm like, okay, it's Unforgiven. That's The Shootist. That's Logan's Run. That's Little Miss Sunshine. Oh my God, what are you doing, movie? Like that movie is just
exactly. A compilation. It's taking a movie. It's taking a franchise. It's taking a character to a place that no one had possibly expected.
No, that's
maybe it took things other than Old Man Logan to make it happen. But the thing is, it is high art. It is style versus substance. Mine has substance. Yours is stylized. It's really, pretty much just an amalgamation of different stories. You could have easily taken one of those stories, stretched it out, and made a legitimate movie rather than just piecemealing everything together and just having Frank Miller.
You don't have enough plot in one of those stories to make it entire.
It's nothing. And the sequel to the movie even proves that.
Okay, I'm not talking about the sequel. I'm talking about the original. Second of all, there's not enough plot in any of this.
Right, an original that took 9 years for them to go ahead and follow up on, probably because what?
What does that
many people want to come back for it? Lord knows Bruce Willis just needed the paycheck because his character practically is an afterthought. Anyone even talks about Marv as the main character for the whole damn movie, and he's one of the least desirable people in the whole damn thing. There's nothing about Sin City's characters that I gleam onto. It's a waste of violence. It's a waste of sex. At least with Wolverine and Professor X and their demises, I actually care about everything that's happening to those two people. Especially Daphne Keane, with her performance as X-23. I gave a damn about this little girl who I knew nothing about.
Time, guys, time.
I'd like to point out greatest line on the show today: "Waste of sex." Good job, Ryan.
Good job.
All right. Okay, guys, recollect your thoughts. Ryan, since chances start, you will be starting this round. And a reminder, guys, you do have a minute extension time, so if you guys want to use it. But whenever you're ready, Ryan, time will start as soon as you start talking.
Going back to what I originally said before, it's an argument of style versus substance. It may look pretty in Sin City, the R stuff that they do for it, because that's what exactly was in the graphic novel, and unfortunately they had to stick tried and true without having any additional creativity shown to it. But at least Logan took something, a basis, was able to incorporate some of the best that cinema has to offer, and gave us an X-Men movie, a Wolverine movie, a finalization of that universe that so many people could gleam onto. And while the R rating may have been just there for the brutality and for the violence that Wolverine encompasses, it's done with purpose. Practically every death that's in that movie has purpose. Whereas the other movie, everyone just dies willy-nilly. But when Professor X is clawed by X-24, when Wolverine is impaled on that wood, and you see X-23 crying over him, it uses the R rating to its best degree in the fact that violence has meaning. Death is ugly no matter what the cause, whereas in Sin City, death is just all over the place and it doesn't matter. It's fucking clown shoes. I'm done.
All right, that's his time.
All over the place. Clown shoes.
It's a Jersey thing. Jay and Silent Bob.
I don't know if you say so.
Okay, Ryan. Brian brings a nice button to his argument for round 3. Chance, it is now your turn for round 3. Whenever you are ready, time will begin as soon as you start talking.
Yeah, James Mangold took Logan in different directions by borrowing from like 15 other films. Like you could literally just go and watch Forgiven and get this Unforgiven or Paper Moon or Rambo First Blood, and you can get the same effect. And I mean, yeah, it was an R-rated center to the character, but honestly, you can do a lot of those scenes PG-13, like you said with my movie. Although the difference with my movie is there's no bigger insult to a Frank Miller work than making it PG-13. And like I said, as opposed to your movie, where I've seen dozens of movies like it, and I've seen like all the movies it's pulling from. Sin City, I haven't seen anything like Sin City ever, where you're truly taking the comic pages and bringing them to the screen. Like it's literally the comic brought to the screen, and that's not a bad thing. Like it's not a bad thing to be faithful to source material. How much people complain when like something deviates too far? I don't understand why sticking source material is a problem. Not to mention, like I said, it has a great ensemble cast. One of the last performances where Bruce Willis gave a shit, and yeah, it doesn't. I mean, yeah, it is hyper stylized and hyper violent, but that's what Frank Miller is. So I don't think that's really them, flaunting the R rating in our face. It's more of them trying to stay faithful to source material, faithful to this great creator who brought comics back from the precipice and proved that they can be both adult and gritty and awesome again.
3, 2, 1, yeah, whatever. Woo.
All right, that's time. And that is the end for round 3. We are going to now move to our judges. And starting off this time, who has your point in this round?
Ryan, I am sorry. Chance, you're getting the point again. The point you made about Logan copying a lot of other films, I think was a great one, as well as having a very unique style, which again differentiates in the conversation. And Ryan's point that the deaths don't matter in Sin City seems sort of empty, since I don't feel like there's anything there to really back it up, especially in an action film, which, as Chance mentioned before, the finale is a bunch of just CGI and violence. I forget the exact wording you had, but along the lines, I just think Chance had
I think something like bland CG, boring looking violence, or something like that.
Yeah, well, one, you're very wrong, and I certainly disagree with you, but I think you won the arguments.
Okay, now we're just gonna jump to the other side. And we're gonna go to Troy. Troy, who has your point in this round?
I don't know yet. I don't know. Let's talk this out. What did I write down here? All right. Fuck. That's what Chance said.
Well, there we go. There's our R rating.
Yeah. We need a second fuck really quick.
Remember, everyone, you need to be 17.
Let's walk this through. Chance pointed out Logan's got a bad third act. It just turns into a boring CGI. Borrows too much. Great job giving like 5 or 6 examples of places it borrows from. I really appreciate that. But then Ryan pointed out, so what? It manages to put it all together. Well, I think that's a great point. Lots of movies borrow lots of things. Ryan pointed out Sin City doesn't need the R rating. Chance said, yes, it does. I agree. Yeah, it fucking does. He shoots a guy's yellow dick off. It does. But I don't think that's really rated to
he pulls it off.
He pulls it off. By the way, but still, it's yellow.
Ryan pointed out it really is.
But a dick is shot in this movie.
Substance.
Okay.
I think he made a great point. Sin City's limited to the source material, but Chance pointed out it's not really that much of a problem because they do a great job with it. You got great Bruce Willis.
Speaking of Willis.
Fuck. Oh fuck. This one's tough. Sorry, Chance, you just didn't overcome the I think everyone's personal bias. Ryan's with Logan. Sticking Ryan with Logan.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
That couldn't have been any closer.
Okay, so just to clarify, Ryan has got your point.
Yeah.
Well, we have stayed on brand with this entire match. There has never been a clear-cut winner in this, so it's going to be down to me for the tiebreaker.
Chase had a great chance. He had a great closing. Great closing. You came back for me at the end.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That could have been closer for me.
Good closing. All right.
I'm going to feel bad if you lose.
Well, I pushed it to you so I can gather my thoughts here, but then all the points you brought up is not making it harder for me. But this really was a different debate of style and substance here for both movies. I like the fact that you guys did not forget about the R rating for both of your movies. How you argued the R rating is not only used well in the movie just because it matches the content from Miller's comic, how it does. And even though Ryan did make that hit that it's over stylized, it's like highly hyper violent, oversaturated, and you did comment like that, it is Miller's work, and oh shit. I mean, it does feel more like a comic, a motion comic, like with every cut going from every page or the use of the actors. Although Ryan, you did come back on how this movie does give the R rating meaning, that most of the death, some of the violence is used there. And I did like how you do mention the good performances from Jackman and Daphne Keane. And I do like that you did mention that Logan does give a great ending to the X-Men franchises. Dark Phoenix are the first class movies aside.
Dark Phoenix, look at this whole thing.
Wait.
But
so is the mutants.
Jesus. Okay.
I tried to write the words Dark Phoenix, but pen wouldn't let me. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Actually, the Phoenix Force intervened.
Yes.
Did you shoot it into space afterwards? That's the important.
Oh, God. I'm guessing. Damn. You guys did so well, and I like both these movies, but my personal bias aside, just from your arguments, though, I mean, fuck. All right, ultimately, when it comes down to it, it was a better R-rating movie. Chance, you did argue on how when it comes to Frank Miller's work, it feels like you were arguing how it was a good comic movie, while Ryan did talk about how the R rating was more used here, and sure, it did borrow from others, but it was talking about how it adds to the film. Fuck, Ryan's getting the point. We're moving on to round 4, okay, guys?
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine losing that one. And if I'm being honest, Logan would be my first choice if I had the option.
You picked second, right? Yeah, okay. I didn't want to ask ahead of time. That seemed pretty obvious.
Wait, no. Ryan should pick Watchmen for Yellow Dick versus Blue Dick, the ultimate final battle.
Oh, there's been nothing but
okay. You're taking the little artificial Yellow Dick against the big old blue, swinging like a Nubian.
Like a wrecking ball.
See the movie? Everything about him is big except for his dick. Okay.
When he's trampling over everybody, it's bigger than most people, so I'm going to go with that one. Okay? I'm not trying to get hit with it.
No, okay.
Matt Graham, you're welcome. Here's some content for you.
Okay, all right. Here, guys. Ryan wins this round, so we are moving into round 4 for this one. It is not a knockout, but this is still a make or break moment for the real ordeal. Can he take this to the speed round, or will Chance win this and move forward into the tournament? So let's move on.
Will I pee my pants? We'll find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a buttload of drinks after this. Luckily, I know a good bar. All right, so let's get on to the 4th category.
Ryan, you can say Aslid. We're officially rated R now.
No, I need a drink. I know a good bar from here, and I'm gonna get slaughtered. So move on to round 4. Oh crap! I just read the question. I'm definitely gonna need to get drunk in sci-fi. Now here's the question in sci-fi. What is the worst sequel to a successful sci-fi movie? So, okay, yeah, Chance, you started off. So Ryan, you will start off this round. Whenever you are ready, time will begin as soon as you start talking.
Well, first, I think we should emphasize the fact that when we were given this question, the term successful was, either critically successful or even financially successful. Either one would work. That's pretty much why I went down the phrase, let's do Transformers, like Michael Bay always says, and probably shouldn't. Now, the thing is, the first Transformers movie is the most critically acclaimed of the franchise, and monetarily, it did make bank, which warranted Michael Bay shoving a different movie down our throats, making the franchise worse and worse and worse until it finally hit rock bottom with Transformers: The Last Knight. This is basically the movie that wrecked the franchise beyond repair. And Lord knows they tried with Bumblebee, but they couldn't even put Transformers on that title because the franchise itself had been so corrupted by this lazy, unsuccessful, tripsing through the tulips, dazily just not caring and blowing things up kind of movie. This one hurts because everyone always has high anticipation when a new Transformers movie comes out, but this sequel was finally the straw that broke the camel's back. And I will continue later.
All right. Yeah. Picked Transformers the last night. Yeah. And it's upsetting because I did love Bumblebee. I was hoping. But hey, I'm not going to get into a tangent here. Let's just move to Chance for your answer for this question. And whenever you are ready, begin.
Probably gotta take all my 90 seconds for this one. So the sequel I've gone with is one that is often regarded in one of the worst sequels of all time, just period. And I'm going with Highlander 2: The Quickening. Now, for those of you who haven't seen the first Highlander, or Troy, because I'm betting he probably hasn't seen it, the first Highlander was actually a pretty cool sci-fi movie, or a pretty cool sci-fi fantasy film. Focus on this guy, Connor McLeod, who finds out from Sean Connery, plays a guy named Ramirez, that he's immortal, and that when the time comes, all the immortals are going to meet, and they'll have to kill each other because there could be only one. There could be only one immortal. So he goes through that. He beats all the other immortals. He decides to become mortal to stay with love of his life, and that's the movie, right? Well, not exactly, because they decided to make a sequel. Enter The Quickening, a half-baked, half-assed movie that comes across like it was written and made by people who didn't even watch the first Highlander. The tagline for the first movie was, "There can be only one," which is something that should definitely apply to the Highlander franchise. The first movie had as good of an ending as you can get. Why give that writers the chance to muck it all up? There's just so much this movie does wrong. I could literally talk about this movie for a half hour. But since I'm about to end with my opening, I will save that for the argument section.
All right. Thank you, Chance, for the synopsis of the first one for our judges, or for anyone who has not seen the first Highlander.
The only time anyone ever cared about a tagline for a movie. So
that's not true, but okay.
Hey, tagline aside, I didn't mind the Bryan Adams song in the first Highlander. So
tagline, hashtag taglines matters.
Yes. You guys are ready. Time will begin.
Okay, so what I will say is, at least with Highlander, we started off on some solid ground. We started off in a good place. Whereas Transformers was on shaky ground from the beginning, and that's just the start. 2, Ryan, let me ask you something. If you open a door and you get smacked in the face, and then you open that door 3 more times, get smacked in the face 3 more times, would you open it a 5th time and expect something any different?
Depends on what's on the other side of the door. The anticipation of Transformers movies is what really brought people in, because everyone always expected that with new characters and with the CGI being what it is, that things would get better. And they've gotten fooled, yes, but they've continuously gotten fooled to the point where they're still shelling out money. The success of Transformers isn't necessarily in the storyline, it's in the monetary makeup that it's done. But you can only do it for so long until everyone gets wise, and everyone got wise during the last night, because the last night, unlike the other 4 movies that predecessed it, it was just a jumble. It retconned way too much from the original movies to the point where
this franchise has been doing retconning like that since the beginning. Also, it's more
as Highlander too.
No.
Highlander's had some major retcons, all right. Between the franchise's movies and the franchise television series, which was a better version of Highlander to begin with. Let us not forget that it also retconned its own sequel with the Renegade Cut. What about the Renegade Cut? Are we talking about the original one where they're going to aliens? Or are we talking about the Renegade Cut, which most people consider canon for the franchise, which cleans up everything?
The Renegade Cut is still incoherent as all hell. Like, they still retcon everything from the first movie. So the sins are still there. What I will say, 5 is bad. Transformers 2 and Transformers 4 are way worse. Transformers 5 is more... Look, well, I will say Transformers 5. I understood. I understood the plot. It was stupid, but I understood it. It's more coherent than 2 or 4. It's shorter than 204. It's less racist than 204.
Oh, it is not that short. No, trust me. Transformers 5 is
it's still shorter than it's still shorter than 204. 4 is almost 3
They're
hours
all
long.
longer than they should be. That's the thing.
But this one's only 2.
If you can't get it done in less than 2 hours, it's excessive. But the thing is, they padded Transformers The Last Night with stuff that should not be necessary. They brought in that stupid alien. They brought back Cybertron when it was destroyed. They brought back Megatron, even though he was supposed to be destroyed more than once.
But they did that.
It's a movie that cares nothing. It's a movie that you can see how lazy Michael Bay is. He just wanted to shovel out another Transformers movie to make money. And when he didn't make money, that's when they had to change. And unfortunately, it ruined a movie like Bumblebee, which was probably the best Transformer-based movie, even though it doesn't have Transformers on it, and it's a prequel to everything else. Now we may never see any more of it because the stink of The Last Night is over everything.
But other sequels cared even way less. Michael Bay himself admitted Transformers 2 was crap. And Michael Bay cared so little about Transformers 4 that there's a sequence with a bunch of monitors that he didn't even bother to put anything with the green screen. He just left the screens green. That's how little he cared about making Transformers 4. Not to mention it does nothing but sell product what's on screen and pander to Chinese audiences.
Here's how much he didn't care about Last Night. He gives Mr. Cohen, the voice of Optimus Prime, the only thing he says in the whole damn movie is, I am Optimus Prime. You've still got the main draw of the entire franchise.
That's not the only thing he says. That's not the only thing he says.
What, a one-line script every time? You don't even care enough about the character who is basically your big money maker. Bumblebee, they give Bumblebee a voice. Why the fuck would you give Bumblebee a voice after all this time? And he says, sting like a bee. They pretty much just schlocked this together. This would have been better if it was made by Asylum than it was Michael Bay. And as for Highlander 2, at least they tried. Highlander 2, Renegade version, or the special edition that you get in that movie alone for the quickening, they at least showed that they tried to fix the franchise. They put in effort. They wanted it to be better than it was. You don't see that effort coming from Michael Bay. In fact, Bumblebee had pretty much no Michael Bay on it. That's why it was so damn good. And unfortunately, because of The Last Night, because of how dour and repetitive and how much fucking Cade Yeager got, and we had to learn about his sexual history, that does not belong in a Transformers movie. Nothing like that belongs in there.
We've already had that precedent, though. We've already had the precedent of all these stupid human subplots and all these other stuff that doesn't belong in a Transformers movie in a Transformers movie. Whereas with Highlander 2, you had to really you didn't need a sequel, first of all. But second of all, you had even if you wanted to make one, you had an interesting ground to play with. But what do? You make the Immortals from planet Zeist. You have Ramirez and Connor McLeod know each other in the past.
Only in that one version. Certainly not in the version that most fans that actually like the franchise go ahead and consider.
Time.
I want to use my extend.
All right. And Chance will use both our competitors will use their 1 minute extension for their closings. Now, okay. I mean, I'm gonna keep saying this over and over again. You guys are fighting hard each and every round. I'm amazed. I am amazed we will get the speed round since you both will be using your 2 minutes uninterrupted, as I say. Okay. Now, Chance, Ryan, you start off. Chance, you will start off your closing with your minute extension. So you have 2 minutes on the clock whenever you are ready.
Okay, well, what I will say, like I said, Transformers 5, not as bad as 204 in that it is more coherent, not as long, not as racist, not as vomit-inducing, and just overall felt more care put in those movies. I'm sorry. More care felt put into Last Night more than it was put into the last two. Not to mention you can see the transformations happening, which is something you could not see, which was a bunch of metal having sex with each other until it made a robot. Whereas with Highlander 2, like I said, didn't need to make a sequel, but if you did, you need to make something that makes sense. And they didn't do that. It feels like a movie made by someone who didn't even watch, not only didn't even watch the first movie, didn't even bother to look at the fucking box for the VHS. I mean, yeah, the Renegade cut is still just as incoherent because you still have the whole thing with Ramirez and Connor McLeod knowing each other in the past, by the fact that in the first movie, it seemed like they never met each other, and the fact that, McLeod, the whole movie is him training, but we're told in flashback that he was, badass resistance leader. It makes little to no sense. Actually, not little to make. It makes absolutely no sense when you get within the confines of the first movie, to the point where it feels like the first one doesn't even matter, which is the biggest sin a sequel can commit, when you make the last movie just be absolutely irrelevant. Not to mention, I can go into the plot line, the plot hole of this movie, but overall, what I will say, Transformers is still going on, whereas Highlander, that movie just single-handedly murdered what could have been a promising franchise, has a 0% Rotten Tomatoes. Nobody was willing to go to bat for that movie, where there are people who will go to bat for Last Night, aka my boy John Roca. And yeah, whereas with Highlander 2, it's unnecessary, incoherent, ridiculous, whereas there are Transformers movies that do those things. You didn't pick either of them. You picked the one that is more coherent and makes a little more sense than the other one. So, like I said, Highlander 2, murder franchise, your movie, not even the worst of that respective franchise.
All right, with 3 seconds left on the clock. Okay, we're going to move on to Ryan for your closing, and you have chosen your 1 minute extension. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so 2 minutes on the clock will be for Ryan. Whenever you are ready, time will begin.
Just to steal from what Chance just said, the worst crime that a sequel can do is make the original one irrelevant. The Last Night, with all of its plot changes, made all 4 predecessing movies irrelevant. It retconned Cybertron. It retconned Megatron. It retconned so many things that we at least had in the ongoing story, movie to movie to movie to movie. And Last Night kicks it in its ass and drags it down into the cellar. Basically, when you're looking at Last Night, you're looking at the downfall of a franchise. Not even just the successful first movie, but the entire franchise. It is because of this movie that we may not ever see a good Transformers movie again. Whereas at least with Highlander, you still got a few more sequels after The Quickening came out. You've got the one with Mario Van Peebles. You got the one with Adrian Paul, which Endgame, I think, is probably the more superior out of any of the sequels. And you even got one that went on to Sci-Fi Channel, plus a long-running series. Anything Transformers oriented is usually animated, and all the good stuff was pre the live action movies. And not to mention, I don't even think Highlander, the original movie, was that successful until it became a cult following. So the fact that they even attempted to make a sequel, which, mind you, the only reason it got chopped up was because the producers took over the film away from the director, who was Russell Malahi. Had he been left alone, we probably would have gotten the Renegade cut, which, again, I will emphasize, at least the director and the filmmakers of that franchise tried to change. They tried to make the difference. Michael Bay is going ahead just counting his dollars until he's not counting his dollars anymore, and the success of the Transformers franchise finally bit him in the ass, and he realized, okay, let's try something else. But it was too little, too damn late. It was the final nail in the coffin with a sword.
Okay, that being said, that's time. Good God, you guys really don't make this easy on us. And we've had a complete round table here, so I will start off first for this round. So my 2 judges can take so they can have the time to gather their thoughts. Now, Jesus, 2 sequels, honestly, these 2 sequels are crap, and trust me, your arguments have backed that up. Now, Chance, you definitely made up the time in your closing talking about how Highlander 2 really was in a sense a bad sequel. The fact that the fact of the control and the power was the fact that the movie retcons the first movie, which was in itself pretty much kind of like a one-story film. The second movie just retcons our main character's past. It confuses pretty much the lore and all of the story that was set up there, and I do like that point. And Ryan, in your closing, you did kind of strengthen that argument, talking about how the producers took control away from the director. And honestly, with talking about the Renegade cut, though, it did knock a few points away from you. But you did keep coming. But when you kept talking more about it, was Ryan's definition of successful. The fact that Transformers, the fact that this franchise kept making money after the first one, despite Michael Bay's laziness or his apologies about how the second one was crap or him wanting to make it better. The problem was that it was still successful moving on. And the fact that the fifth one, did ruin the potential to reboot this franchise with Bumblebee. Ultimately, Ryan, you are getting the point because the fact that Transformers was successful, it was financially in the box office, the fact that even now its future. Yeah, Ryan does get my point in this one, and I will take this to Troy, and we'll get your opinion. Who has your point in this round?
Apparently I missed something when we were talking after the first round, because I was trying to say I was happy Chance made the joke that as far as the Highlanders movies goes, there should have only been one. Did the writers even see Highlander? I think that was a great point. I think Ryan had a great base argument to make it. This is the franchise's rock bottom, and it really, for all intents and purposes, put a knife in it. And then there was a lot of yelling about how bad Transformers was. Not as much yelling about how bad Highlander was. Closing arguments, I thought both competitors were great. I think made some great points on both halves. Ryan pointed out that it really makes the earlier Transformers irrelevant, backing off of Chance's original point of making the original Highlander irrelevant. And I just felt like I felt wanting to hear more about why Highlander 2 was bad. We heard so much about why Transformers was bad. My point goes to Ryan.
Damn.
All
Sheer
right.
volume, there was so much. I wanted to hear more. I think I heard more about Highlander 1 than Highlander 2.
All right. Point won't count here. Who would you have given your point to?
I was having this big thing. I was like, I'm sorry, Ryan, but we're going to the speed round. But no, fuck you, Troy. You took it. All right. Yeah, I think Ryan built up a better argument with this idea of what's the worst sequel, and he's talking about how it's a failure of the franchise. Butchering the success of Bumblebee, even removed from the argument, but still, it was this idea of you have so much going on in the series, and you felt like the rules of the franchise were betrayed in the final film. And while I think Chance made good points that 2 and 4 were worse films, I don't think he actually supported The Quickening 2 enough, or The Quickening, to really push him that far. So yeah, Ryan, we're going to the speed round.
We will start the round. All right, guys. So here it is. Since we are now moving into the speed round, here is the question for the speed round. And I will say this question twice, just so you guys can hear it. Now, here's the speed round question. What is the best Stanley Kubrick film? I repeat, what is the best Stanley Kubrick film?
The Moon Landing.
That's the real answer. That's my answer. Moon Landing. My choices.
2001.
All right. Ryan's pick is 2001. Chance. What is your choice?
Gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Clockwork Orange.
Yes.
Clockwork Orange. All right. Next round. The questions. This will be a quick round. So here it is, you guys. You guys have a 45-second for your opening, 30 seconds in rebuttal, and 20 seconds in your closing. I'll repeat that. There will be 45 seconds in your opening, 30 seconds in your rebuttals, and 20 seconds in your closing. With that being said, Ryan, since you spoke first, you will start first. And your choice whenever you are ready to begin. Ladies and gentlemen, for the speed round, the question was, what is the best Stanley Kubrick film? Ryan chose 2001 Space Odyssey. Chance chose A Clockwork Orange. Now, whenever you are ready, Ryan, your 45 seconds will begin since you said you gave your answer first.
When the question was asked, what is the best Kubrick film? My mind instantly goes to 2001 because it is the one movie that is synonymous with the man as far as I am concerned, and I'm sure as far as many people are concerned, both tonally, cinematically, the use of different filmmaking methods, the music, the lines that come from it. I'm sorry, I can't not hate this, Steve. It's one of these movies that is so embedded in so many brains, whether through imitation or just from talking about it, that when you think about it, it is Kubrick. Kubrick is what comes up in your head.
Right. That's not... Okay, Chance, we are now moving to you for your 45 seconds. Whenever you are ready, time will begin.
Something I think Kubrick does best is he tackles. He does a good job of tackling psyche and tackling the individuality of a person and the mental states of just people in general, which is why I think his best movie is A Clockwork Orange. Now, A Clockwork Orange came out in 1971. It was highly controversial when it came out because you have a guy who takes part in ultra violence as just a pastime for fun, which is why he was seen as just a very like heavy thing to have back then. But what Kubrick does, he takes you on this whole psychological journey into this guy's head and his journey to maybe get better after he's going to get better. The movie keeps you guessing the entire time. And it's that mental state of like franticness is what Kubrick does best, and it's shown best in The Clockwork Orange.
All right. Now, with the 45 seconds done, we are moving into your rebuttals. And I repeat, this will only be 30 seconds, guys. 30 seconds. So, Ryan, whenever you are ready, you can begin.
A Clockwork Orange is okay, but I think it leans too much heavily on the idea that it's shock value, the hyper-violence, like you mentioned. It's playing off of, like, the more of the id that people would inhibit. And really, a lot of Kubrick's characters, he goes ahead, and it's easy to make someone look crazy and look disturbed and demented. But with 2001, at least he's raising everything to a higher plateau. Isolationism, fear of the unknown, you get a lot deeper character than you would with most other Kubrick, the protagonists or even antagonists.
And that will be time. Chance, we are now moving to you for your 30 seconds whenever you are ready.
I don't really think that's true. Clockwork Orange plays off the idea of what makes somebody like Alex DeLarge what he is. Like what factors into it? Like what is it in the environment? Is it society? What makes people like that go nuts and want to kill each other? As opposed to 2001, I mean, technical achievement, sure, but that movie is a slog to get through. It's long, it's boring, it's silent. I will never just like sit in my home on a Sunday afternoon and pop in 2001.
All right. Now we are moving into your closing, guys, and you will only have 20 seconds. And I repeat, 20 seconds. Ryan, whenever you are ready.
2001 is as long as it is because it is a technical marvel. It is a cinematic achievement. It is probably the best of everything that Stanley Kubrick can offer into a movie. You can say that it's long, but it's long because it has so much depth, so much identity to it. It is so synonymous with the man that, yeah, other characters are pale in comparison to even just Hal. Hal has more importance than anything else.
That'll be time. Chance, we are moving to you. You will have the last 20 seconds in this round and the end of the debate in general. So whenever you are ready, you can begin.
Length and complexity are not the same thing. When you want to talk about characters, you look at Alex DeLarge, played by Malcolm McDowell, the best performance in any Kubrick movie of all time. Dude is so nuanced, brings just so much to the character, and he keeps you on edge the entire time. You don't know what's going on in his head. You know how much is an act, how much he knows, how much he's letting on. He keeps you in that constant state of fear, and that's why I think he's the master of horror. I mean, can I retract the horror and put another word? I meant to say suspense.
Well, to be honest, in my notes, I didn't get a chance to write horror down. So, I mean, unless if we could mentally recall it. But that being said, the speed round is done. It is now up to us, the judges, to decide who is the victor and will be moving forward in the tournament. Last round, you will kick us off in the speed round.
Motherfucker. It's really hard.
I'm glad it's not me. Oh, geez.
No, it's like
I want to go first so on this one.
I want to be unbiased because I fucking hate 2001 with every fiber of my being.
Respect the hitches.
I think I have to. Fucking hate voting for this movie. I think I have to give it to Ryan because I think he had a better argument around the film as a whole. I think Chance brought up some valid points, but it's really just, and when it comes to this, I think he had less to argue, whereas I thought Ryan brought more to the overall conversation.
Well,
it's okay, Spence. Really?
No, I fucking hate that. Like, I hate that movie, but your argument's better.
Well, all right. With that, I'm actually going to go the opposite in this one, and I'm giving my point to Chance. Well, Ryan did really break down some good points how 2001 is synonymous with Kubrick, his style and direction, though, and he did bounce back from Chance's rebuttal to the fact that the movie's long. It's not something you want to put in, but Chance did talk about how, with this movie being a character study, it looked into the mental faculties of someone like Alice DeLarge. When it comes to a film in general, it seems like I would be more interested in a character study when it comes to a Kubrick film, or at least a film in general, on a character study of someone in a society versus, I think with 2001, I didn't hear enough from Ryan when it comes to 2001. Exactly what would want to hook me in other than the technical marvel involved. Like what element, what focus, plot point would want to draw me in. So Chance gets my point. And now, Troy, you will be the tiebreaker and decide who will.
Remember Troy, like 90 seconds ago when I said I was happy I didn't go first? Yeah, now I kind of regret that. I think this was probably the best argued question. I think it was even back and forth. Everybody had great points. I think great openings on both points. Ryan pointed out not just that it's synonymous with Kubrick, but everything about it. The tone, the cinematography, the technical aspects of it, the lines, everything about it. It's good. The fact that it's a wide-known movie, whether it's known because of ripoffs or parody, people know about it. Chase had a great Chance had to. Sorry, I got a friend named Chase, so I keep saying Chase.
That's
Chance made a
great
point.
At least you have friends, Troy.
One.
Jeez.
Anyway,
doesn't want a friend named
I love.
Let's get to the answer.
So Clockwork Orange is more than just hyper-violence. It's, the nature versus nurture is a fascinating thing. It's a very entertaining movie versus 2001 being a slog, which, can be long and boring. But Ryan pointed out, it's long because there's a lot into it. And there's a lot of important themes: isolation, fear of the unknown. It's big ideas. There's more than just individuals. And then Chance brought up the great performance by Malcolm McDowell. Great Kubrick performance, great character. Ryan countered and said, Hal's a great character. You know what? I think that's going to do it for me. Hal's a great character. 2001's got a great character and everything else versus just the great thing. I love Clockwork Orange. It's probably my favorite Kubrick movie, but again, by narrowest of margins, I'm going to say Ryan. As much as I love A Clockwork Orange, I'm going to say Ryan edges gets out for me on that one. I don't like it. I don't like it, Ryan.
Winner. Moving on in the Showdown tournament, it is the real or deal, Ryan O'Regan. Despite the fourth round actually having two similar decisions, every round has been like a 50-50. There has been no clear winner, and I have to admit the speed round mirrored everything else. You guys argued great. You were fantastic in this. I swear to God, if I was ever in this tournament, I would not want to come across any of you. Now, with this being said, let's just move on to our winner of the Showdown, Ryan O'Real, the real or deal. Ryan, you clearly look like you're relaxed, but I don't know at the same time if you're feeling pressured knowing that you have to move forward. But let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. How are you right now? How do you feel after this win?
I'm dizzy. I feel like I just went up against Muhammad Ali. I feel rope-a-doped. I mean, there's a lot of expectations when you're going up against someone like Chance Ellison. I mean, the name transcends the league. So to even be up against him, I consider it an honor. So Chance, I appreciate you. You've put up probably the best bout I've had, and mind you, it's only my third. So I mean, I don't think anybody's gonna go ahead and overpass you. You know, you've taken me to the entire limit. Everything was like down to like 2 versus 1. There was no clear-cut winner, and to take the win, I mean, there's the sigh of relief, there's the relaxation just swelling over me. There's the need for a drink, probably a double of scotch. And yeah, I mean, still being relatively new to the idea of Battlegrounds, I'm curious to see how things will go on from here, but I'm also very nervous. I'm not going to lie. So,
Mr. The Real, we can tell you about your future because we have your next opponent waiting in the green room. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello.
Mr. Beer.
That's right. This is me. Yeah, good job. Taking down Chance is no easy feat. He is a very, very skilled competitor. But you're going to have to do better than that to beat me.
Chug. Yes.
A drink in his hands. Nice recap.
That's okay. That's okay. I mean, I appreciate some kind words you might have had for me in some other live videos. So I do think it's going to be very fun. It's going to be very competitive. And I'll be honest, I've never seen any of your matches, but I can't wait to review them and look them over and count all the little nuances that I get to pick at. You know, it's going to be fun. I like it.
Ooh, I love a challenge.
As he keeps drinking, it's like, God damn, come with the frog here.
Oh, it looks like we got ourselves a nice tease for a future showdown match happening between our two future
Jersey versus Jersey.
Yeah, pretty much Jersey versus Jersey. I mean, I want to segue to so we can talk to our second place finisher here, but it almost feels like we could spend 3 more minutes. All right, let's move with Ryan's
second place.
Yeah. But by the narrowest of margins. It's pretty much like a 100-meter dash relay. The moment you think you're about to cross that finish line, someone else just like zooms past you for that photo finish just by a nose. With that, Chance, you unfortunately, yes, you're not going to be moving forward in the showdown tournament for Battleground. But this was really one hell of a debate match. I don't see many debates going into a speed round. And when they do, most of the time, it doesn't drive a wedge between the judges like it did with that final question. But Chance, your feelings on this, and even if regarding your future Battleground, if you see you here again, or if you feel like jumping into any of the other leagues here.
Well, I am pissed at myself for losing that Highlander question. I should have had that one, but yeah, I mean, I felt like I did good. I feel like I did what I could with what I was given. It's just, yeah, Battleground either just really on or really off. And as far as seeing me again, I thought about it, and I think as far as Battleground's concerned, I think it's time for me to call it a career. This will be my last ride in movie Battleground. I think I'm either 1 up or at 500, and I am ready to just cut my losses and just quit while I'm ahead. So that's it. I'm done.
Oh, damn.
I will no longer be a competitor in the movie Battleground.
Oh, damn. Oh, damn.
Hey, do we want to give Chance another point and get another speed round going?
I mean, it kind of feels like that. But then of course, Andrew will have to keep waiting in the wings to find out who he's going to play. But if that is his decision, he wants to go out on, I mean, honestly, this is a kind of a good way to go. You didn't get knocked out here. This wasn't no 3-1 defeat. You took your opponent, came back, roaring back though. But I'm still processing it right now.
This is just like Robert De Niro as what's his name from Raging Bull. You never knocked me down. Thank you. Yes, you were never knocked down. Everything has been a knockout, drag-out fight, and you're going out on top. Even in a loss, you're not a loser.
Or yeah, I mean, I can even give a better one. Your team match against the Shire Wolves, you took them out. You took the belts. They went out on a high as well. You're pretty much walking into the sunset like you are with them. The difference is Jesus Christ. I'm not an emotional mess afterwards.
It could have gone either way. Chance. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, I'm sorry. Sorry.
I wish that we had a lineup of people wanting to talk about your career here, wanting to talk about how great you are here.
I mean, I've been here from the jump. It's almost 2 years of competing in this league. I think that's enough for me.
Well, then I'm pretty sure everyone who will be watching this in the future, and when they hear this announcement, the comments will be flooded with, "No, don't go! I want to beat you. Please come back. I have not faced Chance yet. Thou will not walk away until I bite my thumb at thee."
I'll be in the comment section. Just who can say where the wind blows? I'll get a conversation of the eulogy going.
Well, I mean, I'll probably be in the comment just commenting, "Carry on, my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Rest your weary head. Don't you cry no more."
I believe the line's "lay your weary head to rest." You're gonna attribute me, do it right.
My singing sucks, and I don't want us to end this way. But with this being said, Chance has dropped this major announcement that he is done with Battleground in the future. I would say for now, but it feels like I want to never say ever, but Chance is done with Battleground. And honestly, there's no way we can continue with that. So with that being said, speaking for our winner, Ryan O'Regan, our second place finisher, Chance, for our Troy, my name is Ryan. Not going to say the initial. I want to keep you guys to figure out. And I want to say to all of you, good night. And what one hell of a fight.